Thanks, Ron and Ann, and the little furry friend. Jay Payleitner is my guest. He's written this book, 52 Things Wives Need from Their Husbands. You're the best-selling author of 52 Things Kids Need from a Dad. 52 meaning 52 weeks in the year?
Well, 52 plus I write short.
Yeah.
Because guys don't read books.
No.
But they can sit down and read a few pages here and there. And I just need to say, I just so appreciated that verse from Philippians. That was too long for me to memorize. But I do know this one, flee from sexual immorality.
Yeah.
Which is that whole idea of filling your heart and filling your mind with good stuff. And not to get down, I don't want to beat up dads right now, but when you got 52 chapters, of course, some of them are lighthearted and great fun. And I do have one chapter on...
To only have eyes for her.
To only have eyes for her. You know that word lust? You know, we're not supposed to talk about lust. Lust is the bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, guys? Turn that around and lust after your wife. You know, choose to love her every wrinkle, every gray hair. She puts on 10 pounds, lust after your wife. You know, lust after the curve of her neck or her eyes kind of thing. So maybe I'm offending some people out there by that. But, you know, that's the way to dwell on all the good and true things that God wants us to dwell on.
Contrary to a lot of popular opinion, Hugh Hefner did not invent sex. God did, and he called it good.
Right.
You know, and the Apostle Paul makes a very strong case for a man loving his wife sexually. The Song of Songs is a marvelous poem about physical love. I mean, nothing to hide from, for sure.
Right.
But you cover so many other things. One of the things here that you think that wives need to hear from their husbands is that they push the right buttons. Now, what do you mean by that?
Your wife is Kathy, right?
Kathy,
and you've been married 42. Well, nobody, Jim, knows Kathy better than you do.
That's right.
And you know how to push her buttons.
Yeah.
And you could walk in at the end of a day or any time, and you could say something like, "Hey, sweetheart, did you notice that new women's fitness center opened down the street?"
Oh, you're not going to say that.
Or you could say, when did your mom's hair start going gray?
Yeah. Bad
Here's one that some husbands still don't get, and I've said all these things, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, sweetheart, those mugs you bought, they don't fit in the dishwasher. Now you see, that's like saying you are so stupid for buying those mugs.
Yeah.
So we know how to push our wife's buttons. Yeah. One of the early chapters, I actually made a list of things that my wife, Rita, we've been married 32 years now, that she likes. And I won't read them all, but it's like my wife starts out here. My wife likes fireworks and parades and babies and cute babies and goofy-looking babies and TV commercials with babies and warm feet and fresh flowers and fresh snow and drinking straws and craft magazines. These are not expensive things, Jim.
No.
But the exercise of literally writing down what my wife likes, and I pledge before everybody watching today in all of Canada and even some in the U.S., I pledge that I am going to make sure that my wife has some of this, one of these things, once a week for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And, and here, finish this for me. If I give her what she likes, she will...
Give you what you like.
Well, yes, but that's wrong. That's not the right answer. That's how most guys would answer.
That's how most guys answer, yeah.
But it needs to be, if I give her what she likes, it gives me joy as well. It's that whole leave and cleave thing. We are one.
Yeah.
We are one and united. And the last thought on this has to be, if you're like confused, Jay, what are you talking about? Go ahead, I dare you to make that list. Pull out a new yellow pad of paper or start a new Word document and literally list some things that your wife likes and do that for her. It works. Great idea.
According to those who study these things, the number one reason for breakup in marriage is money. Now, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but you talk about money in chapter 6 when you talk about hitting bottom together. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, the year was 1983. I was very handsome back then. I had all my hair. You had all your hair back then.
Yeah. I had hair once. I didn't like it.
And I was selling law books to corporate attorneys in downtown Chicago. I had a 28-pound briefcase. I was dragging around, and I was terrible at it. Now, we'd found a good church. I loved my wife. We had 2 little toddlers at home. We were a couple months behind on our FHA mortgage. And again, we're doing okay, except for we're not. We're just not. And my wife was smart enough. She knew me. She trusted me. I will never forget standing in the doorway of her kitchen, and she said to me, "Jay, I don't have faith in you anymore."
Whoa.
Well, yeah. But because we had a good relationship, she knew that that was exactly what I needed to hear. Again, I'm selling law books here. I was terrible at it. And so instead of getting angry, I'm proud to say I took it the right way. I listened to her. I thought about it. We started talking more. We started praying more together. We got some counsel on what my gifts were. I ended up at a new job. Actually, that took a little cut in salary for a while, but I ended up doing advertising and marketing, which was more of my gifts. And here's the point. She joined me down there in my crud. I was hurting. I'd come home every day, not making my sales quota, and I was hurting. And she joined me down at that bottom of the pit. Every marriage is going to hit some kind of a pit. You need to almost expect it. It's not, it's not this rose garden, la, la, la. You need to expect. And so, husbands, if your wife's down in that pit, don't be yelling at her and telling her what to do. Join her down there. Wives, if your husband's hurting down in that dark pit that we all go through, join each other, because it's going to take both of you crawling, lifting each other up, and setting your feet on the solid rock of Jesus, of course, to get out of that pit together. So, hit bottom together is one of the short chapters in the book.
One of the things I like about the way you write is you just don't pull any punches. I mean, you really nail guys once in a while. You tell them to get over it, grow up. Well,
I'm not beating them up though. But go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed that. I got a lot of joy out of your frankness. You talk about nagging prevention. To ask, is this okay?
Well, okay.
I mean, talk to me about that.
Yeah, it took me a while. A lot of these things takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
And so if you're married 3-4 years and you think you're going, you're going to hit some learning curves here. Yeah. And one of them was this: we would be going someplace out, not real fancy, but just out to dinner or out with some friends. And Rita would be downstairs in the kitchen, probably already ready, and I'd be up in my closet, getting angry at my wife. Because I know whatever I chose to put on, I would come down the stairs and she would find fault with that. You're going to wear that tie? That shirt needs to be ironed, something. So I get angry before she even said anything. And so instead of saying, ready to go, one time I put on what I thought was okay. I came down, and instead of saying, are you ready to go or let's go, I said, is this okay? Now suddenly I'm back in control. And guys, that's what we want to be. Just a little control. Just a little control. So I was giving her permission to say, oh, you know what? Whatever. Change your tie or let me press that shirt. And so ultimately, yes, I've changed some shirts. I've stood by the ironing board while in my boxer shorts while she's ironing my pants.
You mean you don't iron your own pants? Jay, tell me you don't iron your own.
Twice I've ironed something and it didn't turn out well. It's a division of duties.
Well, you learn by doing, Jay.
It's a division of duties. You know what? I do empty the dishwasher.
Well,
I do, but I don't do laundry. I don't do ironing because I'm not good at that.
What about cooking? Do you do that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really.
Have you ever done stuff from a recipe book?
I believe in recipe books, but it's better just to throw things in.
I don't know. I've done stuff from a recipe book.
And do you have a favorite, Jim?
Macaroni and cheese. Now, we've only got a few minutes left here.
Sure.
I'm not sure that the book really wanted to take this into its scope, but you do talk about doing the church thing, as you call it. But what about spiritual leadership? How important is it to a wife that her husband really be a priest in the home?
Well, I'm not going to do a bunch of stats, but if the men are in the pews on Sunday morning, the world works. The city works, the family works, the community works. but that's actually one of the shorter chapters in the book. And let me see if I can get it right. Do, model, and pray. So, Dad, to be the spiritual leader of your home, you need to have a spiritual depth of your own. You need to pray, model praying, and then encourage your kids to pray. You need to forgive, model. You have to need to forgive. You need to model forgiveness, and you need to encourage your kids to pray, to be forgiving. You need to read your scripture, read the Bible every day. You need to model that for your family. You need to encourage them. You need to tithe. You need to model. You need to encourage them to do that. So, Dad, all you have to do to be the spiritual head of your household is be the best Christian you can be, model that, and then encourage your kids to follow.
When I was growing up, we used to have something called family altar. That's kind of an old term now. But on a fairly regular basis, we would just gather together as a family, sometimes around the dinner table, sometimes in the living room, and Dad would read the scripture and we would pray. You know, it was nothing drawn out, but it was just something that was a core value in the home. And I don't know, if that family altar concept has stood the test of time or not in terms of the current generation, but it's certainly not a bad idea.
Well, you know what? You need to make time to do that, but also understand that I think kids are busier these days than they were when we were growing up.
Well, that could be.
And so the sense is you have to, when they're 3 and 4 and 6, they'll make time for you. But later on, you need to make time for them. So when you enter their lives, you need to enter with a spirit of compassion and forgiveness and love, and grounded in Scripture and the biblical values. Please do, parents, dads, absolutely. If you can, around the dinner table, after dinner, have regular devotions. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Yeah. Don't beat yourself up, but you need to have some kind of pattern so that you do come back into the lives with spiritual truth.
52 Things Wives Need from Their Husbands. It's a really fascinating read, what husbands can do to build a stronger marriage. And Jay Payleitner is the author. He writes in a very refreshing, delightful way, just like he talks. You're going to enjoy it. And we have it available in our e-store. And what you can do is log on to crossroads.ca, or you can call us at 1-800-265-3100 and order your copy of 52 Things Wives Need from Their Husbands, very reasonably priced, and it will be a very valuable resource for you. A lot of fun, but a lot of good instruction there. Thanks, Jay.
Jim, I appreciate it.
Pleasure. We'll be back with more right after this, friends.